Under hybrids. Toyota, let's go places.
Now, from Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 News at 5.
And a good evening, everyone. To all of you out there watching, appreciate it. I'm Rod Fowler. Many of you remember this last summer, Lincoln and Southeast Nebraska had a couple of 911 outages, keeping the system down for many for X amount of time. Well, today we're learning it wasn't just one thing that caused it, but several events. Channel 8's Veronica Barreto has more.
Yeah, the Nebraska Public Service Commission hosted a hearing today as it conducts its investigation into recent Windstream's outages. During the hearing, we learned the outage on September 2nd started when a contractor installing a natural gas pipe cut an irrigation line. Water from that line made its way into a transformer vault. This caused a fire and then an explosion. A backup generator also failed, and the batteries to keep it going died. And the nearest generator capable to producing such energy was in Des Moines.
Windstream always completes thorough reviews of such incidents and makes network, policy, and procedure changes as a result of the lessons learned. This service interruption was no different. We identified 3 issues and have taken steps to address them.
I'll let you get back to your patient. If anything changes, just call me.
Instead of reactive. When these outages happen, the response was that they have network engineers looking at that right now. And the commission says any decision regarding the investigation will be made at a later date. I'll have much more coming up at 6 o'clock about the investigation.
Boy, you're right. Just one thing after another. Veronica Barreto from the newsroom, thank you so much. Now on to another type of outage, this one dealing with your electricity. You might not know it, but bushy-tailed critters can cause a shocking amount of problems.
The squirrels are tricky.
Yeah, we're talking about squirrels. They may not be as cute as you think they are. The utilities director in Grand Island said squirrels have always been enemies of electric crews because they make up for a large number of power outages in the city. He says 35% of those power outages are squirrel driven.
Squirrels are hard to patrol, especially in a city. You have a higher rate of squirrels because of the condensed vegetation and houses.
Plus, if a squirrel encounters 2 phases on a power line or nests in a transformer box to stay warm, problems can easily happen.
The squirrel gets fried and blows a fuse on the pole, ideally.
Schmidt says they do their best to trim trees near power poles, not just for the squirrels, but to keep branches from falling onto power lines. We have new details now on that deadly crash that happened in Johnson County. A name has been released. It all happened on Tuesday just north of Tecumseh. 2 vehicles were involved. 1 passenger died, and officials have identified her as 18-year-old Gracelyn Pellicott of Junction City, Kansas. The 2 drivers were taken to the hospital. The investigation continues tonight. Also, new details on the Superior man accused of fatally shooting his partner. 30-year-old Sebastian Dunbar is now charged with first-degree murder and child abuse. Molly Gruber was shot during an argument. A child was inside at the time but was not injured. Dunbar's next court date is January 19th. And speaking of crime, we're taking a closer look at the numbers this year in Lincoln. Some of those numbers may surprise you. Channel 8's Philip Katafamo joins us now with more.
As 2023 comes to a close, it's time to look back at how Lincoln fared with crime entering the new year. Auto theft saw the biggest spike this year with a 13% increase from last year. We saw a 79% increase from October to December and a 62% increase over the past 5 years. Something that you've seen a few times in our newscasts, commercial burglary is up over 160% from October through December, but there was a 2% decrease from last year. In smaller scale crime, narcotics-based crimes are up 14%, shoplifting is up 28%, and trespassing increased 30% from last year. We'll take a look at a little more of these crime statistics and how Lincoln fares compared to other surrounding cities coming up a little later in our newscast.
Well, get ready for some new laws to take effect at the beginning of the year, which is just a few days away, right? That includes an increase to minimum wage that voters approved last year. It will go up from $10.50 an hour to $12 on January 1st. It's all part of an annual increase through 2026 when it will be $15 an hour. Also, a motorcycle helmet law will be going into effect. It allows motorcyclists to ride without a helmet, but people will need to pass a certified course before receiving that waiver. Let's talk about your weather now. Krista Chang is in tonight for Rusty, and she joins us now. How's it going, Krista?
Well, earlier today we were tracking some lingering light snow and even some flurries, but it looks like all of that has since diminished, and now we're just left with mostly cloudy skies, especially for the eastern and central part of the state. Looks like a little bit more sunshine off to the panhandle. Earlier today we did see some sunshine ourselves, but now it looks like the second half of the day is just going to continue to be mostly cloudy, and we're really seeing that on our Beatrice live camera. Almost as white, the sky is almost as white as the ground on this with all the snow, but otherwise looks like it's just going to continue to be a little bit cloudy, a little bit windy as well for much of the eastern and central half of the state. Anywhere from 10 to 15 mile-per-hour wind speeds we're seeing right now for much of the east, and that's from the northwest. That's going to carry on over into the evening hours. Temperatures right now a little bit chilly, but close to what we usually see this time of year in the 30s. 34 for Lincoln, 32 currently in Beatrice, 32 for Grand Island and Norfolk. And well, the next couple of hours, well, we're going to continue to see some of that cloud coverage, a little bit of partly cloudy skies turning mostly cloudy into the overnight hours. Our temperatures are going to drop into the lower 30s and then eventually even into the lower 20s, but it doesn't seem like we'll be seeing many teens. I know we were seeing that earlier this morning. Looks like it'll be a little bit warmer, but still near normal, and we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Krista. Well, some good news if you're on Nebraska Medicaid. It's introducing new dental care changes starting January 1st. They focus on expanding services. This includes getting rid of the yearly dental benefit cap for adults, which is $750. Also, reimbursement for dentists at each step of the denture treatment process. Right now, it's only given when it's complete. So for more information on this, you can visit the DHHS website. If being more active is a resolution for you in the year 2024, remember it's a year-long goal. Exercising is important to your health even when the temperature dips. Doctors say to safely exercise in the cold. They say to dress based on the temperature and your activity, but wearing layers is important.
They'd be starting with like a synthetic base layer, a middle fleece, and then an outer insulated jacket, or a combination of a puffy warmth coat and an outer shell. The shell helps protect against rain and wind, and the inner puffy part of the jacket helps keep the warmth in.
Also, stay away from clothes made with cotton, they say. The doctor says that material tends to trap in moisture close to the skin. If it's really cold outside, he says to keep extremities like your fingers, which are more vulnerable to frostbite, try to keep them covered. And before you exercise, do a short 5 to 10 minute warm up to get blood flowing to your muscles.
Afterwards, after you're done exercising, a short cool down can help, and then sometimes stretching after exercise may be more effective than doing it before.
Darker earlier in the winter months, Dr. Tissot says to make sure you wear reflective clothing or maybe bring a flashlight so that you're visible to drivers who are passing by. This holiday season is extra special for one family in Omaha. A woman finally adopted her daughter this year after a lengthy process. As Maddie Augustine shows us, the nurse first met the little girl when she was her patient 2 years ago.
Throughout the Denich household, Signs 2-year-old Athena has been here. Cars, dolls, and of course, miniature puppy dog slippers. This Christmas holds a bit more meaning for the Denich family.
It's so nice to move into the holidays and really know that we can forge our own traditions and these get to be ours.
The first holiday Athena and her mom Mackenzie share the same last name.
It's just nice knowing that she's not going anywhere. So a big relief.
Mackenzie officially adopted Athena, or Mina as they call her, in July, after nearly a 2-year process.
She's not lucky to have me, but I am so lucky to have her.
Mackenzie says in 2021, a couple at her family's church told her mom Brenda that their daughter was going to have a baby they might need help with. With 16 years experience as a neonatal nurse practitioner, Brenda offered Mackenzie, but they never heard much more. Until October 2021, while Mackenzie was at work and a call for a baby came in.
I was sitting next to the intake physician and I was like, I know that baby.
The next day,
Her grandmother called me to see if I would take her home.
something both Mackenzie and Brenda never imagined happening.
I think that was always our greatest hope, right? Like, did I think that it would happen? No.
Now, officially Mina's legal parent, Mackenzie says she works to build a foundation with Mina's biological family.
I think it's important for her to always know. I don't want her to ever have like a day that she finds out that she's adopted. I just want it to be a part of who she is and her story.
But still celebrating Mina officially becoming a Denich.
It's just very emotional.
And Mackenzie urges anyone who's thinking about adoption from either side to talk to adults who were adopted as children. Her mantra is, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. In other news now, speaking of the holidays, navigating returns can be tricky as stores have wildly different policies. It's important to understand individual stores' guidelines. Now, here are a few tips to help you out this year. Know your store's return policies and product warranty details, but most importantly, make sure you keep a gift receipt and original packaging, since most stores require them for returns. Also, bring your ID, since holiday return scams are common. And lastly, make returns in a timely fashion if possible. Also, coming up on the news tonight, the Houston SWAT team moves in and takes drastic measures when a semi-driver refused to pull over. We'll be right back.
A serious injury can disrupt every aspect of your life. When insurance companies try to minimize payments or deny claims, you're looking for a victory. If you've been seriously injured, call Barry Law.
Next DT celebrating 5 decades of Denzel Washington.
People say, what's your favorite film? I say my next one.
At home and on set.
All right.
Next DT.
Weekdays at 6:30 after Channel 8 News at 6.
It's not enough to know what the weather is now. Conditions change fast, from clear skies to downpours to damaging and dangerous storms. Stay one step ahead of the weather with early forecasts and warnings from the Storm Alert team.
Supreme Spa and Pool's annual year-end clearance sale. Luxury spas from $39.99. Custom in-grounds starting at $29.99.
Be swimming by spring.
Or semi-in-grounds from $89.99. Save up to 50% off retail on any in-stock above grounds. 18-foot above grounds
Worth $5,000.
Now $24.99. Take the plunge with our new Chill Springs Cold Plunge. Supreme Spa and Pool.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Well, the Christmas season is finally upon us, and the mission staff and I want to wish you and your loved ones a very merry and blessed holiday. This year, the vast majority of the homeless will spend Christmas at the People City Mission, and we want to make it a special time for them. Good food, warm beds, special presents, friendship, and most of all, love. So I'm asking you to help us help them, because Christmas, it's for everyone.
Wants to know, what are you driven by?
Us? We're driven by a girls' night out.
Shop Red Tag deals at Duteau Chevrolet. The best selection, discounts, and rates starting at 1.9% make it easy. Or get $500 Red Tag bonus cash on select models. Become part of the Duteau family today. Online anytime at DuteauChevrolet.com.
A serious injury can disrupt every aspect of your life. When insurance companies try to minimize payments or deny claims, you're looking for a victory. If you've been seriously injured, call Barry Law.
Channel 8 Eyewitness News is brought to you by Menards.
Transform your bathroom today at Menards. Create your dream bathroom with Sterling tubs, showers, and doors that fit your style and budget. Like this finesse shower door. Get it for $399.99. Put the finishing touches on your kitchen or bathroom with a faucet from Moen. Moen products are built to last. This mica matte black bathroom faucet is easy to install. No tools are needed. On sale for $89.99 now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Turning now to the 2024 presidential campaign trail, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley now attempting to rectify her remarks on what caused the Civil War. Here's what she said that is causing some controversy.
What was the cause of the United States Civil War?
Well, don't come with an easy question or anything. I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do.
Haley is facing backlash over her initial answer not referencing slavery. Today, she is doubling down on her response.
Of course, the Civil War was about slavery. We know that. That's unquestioned, always the case. We know the Civil War was about slavery. But it was also more than that.
This comes as some national polls show Haley gaining some ground on Donald Trump. New details now in a gruesome case that came out of Idaho. The off-campus house where 4 Idaho college students were brutally murdered last fall was demolished today. Prosecutors claim Brian Kohberger entered the house in the early hours of November 13th, 2022 and stabbed 4 students to death. University of Idaho officials are calling it an important step toward finding some closure, but some family members of the victims worry with the house gone, it may impact the upcoming trial.
The family believes there's an enormous amount of evidentiary value in that house. They thought it would be beneficial to give some more specific statements and reasons why there might be evidentiary value to maybe shake the tree a little bit, so people can kind of understand where they're coming from.
University of Idaho says the property of the home there will remain vacant for now as they create a healing garden and memorial on campus. A trial date for Kohberger has not yet been set. He faces the death penalty if convicted. A semi-truck driver is in custody tonight after an hours-long chase and standoff with police in Houston, and his arrest was caught on camera. It started when an officer saw the truck parked in the main lanes of the interstate. When the officer pulled up behind it, the driver took off slowly. Police used stop sticks, which hit 2 tires, and the truck eventually came to a stop, but the driver refused to get out. And you can see here some of the measures they had to use to take him into custody.
They tried numerous things, deploying gas, deploying less lethal, verbal commands, gave him every option to come. He remained resistant the entire time, did not answer any commands or anything like that. So at some point, they had to physically position themselves as safely as possible to extract him out.
The driver was taken away for medical attention and charges are pending. The sheriff says the truck container was empty and no weapons were ever found.
Now, your Storm Alert Team Forecast from Nebraska's trusted news source.
Earlier today, some parts of southwestern and central Nebraska had some snow, some lingering snow at that. And well, looks like across the state right now, we're just seeing mostly cloudy skies. There is a chance for some flurries to continue on into the afternoon, but mainly for parts of far southeast Nebraska. You can kind of see behind me that system in Iowa right now could bring some flurries on over. Otherwise, looking at mostly cloudy skies, mainly for parts of eastern and central Nebraska, seeing a little bit more sunshine off in the Panhandle and more west. But here in Lincoln, look at that, just nothing but clouds right now. Not really going to be seeing too much of a sunset tonight, and that's again because of those clouds that are just going to cover the sky for the rest of the evening hours. But as far as temperatures go, close to what we usually see, starting to cool off a little bit more. 34 currently in Lincoln, 33 right now in Hebron, 32 for Grand Island and Norfolk. There are some 20s in Broken Bow, 28. But if you are stepping outside, yes, we're seeing temperatures very close to what we usually do in the 30s. It's actually going to feel like the 20s when you are stepping outside, especially for your skin. 24 is going to for feels like temperature right now in Lincoln, 25 for Hebron, 20 for Broken Bow, even some teens for O'Neill, parts of O'Neill. Otherwise, a little bit warmer feels like temperatures off towards the Panhandle and parts of Scotts Bluff. But a little bit windy as well. We're actually a little windy for much of eastern Nebraska, some parts of central as well, anywhere from 10 to 15 mile-per-hour wind speeds from the northwest. And those are going to carry on over into the overnight and early morning hours as well. As far as tonight goes, we're looking at temperatures dropping down into the lower and mid 20s, some upper 20s at that. 27 for a low in Nebraska City, 26 for Omaha, 21 for Lincoln, Seward, and York. We should be seeing 16 this time of year, so that's a little bit warmer, about 5 degrees warmer, in fact, than what we usually do see. Otherwise, we're looking at that cloud coverage carrying on over into the overnight hours, and even a chance for some patchy fog tonight, and that's going to start around midnight and then carry on over into early morning, very similarly to what we saw this morning. And again, those wind speeds from the northwest are just expected to carry on over. But as far as the morning goes, other than a chance for some patchy fog, we're also going to continue to see those clouds that we're seeing right now, mainly for much of eastern Nebraska. They don't stick around too long. By the afternoon, we're looking at a lot of sunshine, mostly sunny clouds, in fact, across the state, and that's going to continue into the early evening hours as well. And then eventually, heading into the late evening, we'll start to see a little bit more clouds start to appear, especially for parts of eastern and southeastern Nebraska. Tomorrow, our temperatures are expected to be a little bit warmer than what we usually see this time of year. 36 is our normal high, and while we're forecasting upper 30s still, there's a chance for some upper 40s as well. 41 expected for a high in Hebron, 38 here in the capital city, 39 for Nebraska City, along with Beatrice and Fairbury, just a little bit warmer, and that's going to carry on over as well into Saturday too, and then we'll start to cool down a little bit more. But wind chills are going to make it feel like the upper 20s, a little bit gusty as well. We'll see gusts anywhere into the 20 miles per hour, but partly cloudy skies. There's going to be a decrease in cloud coverage like we saw on that stormcast, a little bit cloudy towards the morning, and then a little bit more chances for sunshine in the rest of the day. As far as January 3rd through 7th go, we're actually looking close to normal in terms of temperatures. I know we kind of take a hit in temperatures for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and that's because of a cold front that's going to send us into the upper 20s. But that doesn't last too long. We're quickly warming back up to near normal temperatures. In fact, heading into the first official week of the new year, it looks like we're going to be dry and a little bit quiet as well. Our next best chance for any precipitation is going to arrive later on next Friday. Otherwise, just lots of chances for a mixture of sun and clouds in the incoming days.
Not bad for New Year's Eve festivities, people wanting to get out. I remember years ago, it was so cold. I'm not kidding you when I say I think the wind chill was right around 40 below on New Year's Eve. So
right, I know we've seen some negative temperatures in the New Year's, but not too bad. It's a little cooler than normal, but nothing too crazy.
This is a walk in the park compared to that. So thank you so much, Krista.